Fearless Gamers, Matt here for Fearless Games, and today I'm going to be doing another Vets review. And this time the thing I'm going to be reviewing, or product that I'm going to be reviewing, is Vallejo Model Air Paint. Thanks to the wild card now, I just think of this mariachi band whenever I say that. This is a product now. Just give some backstory if anyone doesn't know. Vallejo is a paint company that dives in a lot of miniature paints. They have a couple of brands. The ones that I'm most familiar with is Model Color, I believe it's either Game Color or Game Model or Model Games, something like that. It's more their brand that's kind of closer to the competitive brand colors like Citadel. And there is Model Air. And now, to be honest, I've never been a fan of Vallejo. I don't like their paints. I've never had any good experiences with them. I know that the wild card does like their metallics. But for me, I never had a good time with Vallejo's paint scheme. But I was recently looking into airbrushing for a model that I had that I didn't want to sit there hand painting, and I didn't want to deal with prepping GW paint anymore because GW paint is annoying to prep because it takes so much longer than it needs to, and since GW doesn't give you helpful ways to do it, they just say buy our product that's designed for it and you will not need us to tell you. And well, so I was like, that's it. So I decided to give Vallejo Model Air a try. Vallejo Model Air is advertised as a airbrush-ready paint. No mixing, no thinners, no nothing. You don't know special altar gods to the hobby deities that be. Just open the jar, put it in your paint pot, attach it to your airbrush, and go. And so I was intrigued to see how this product worked. And to be perfectly honest, it holds up to its claims. Just because I wasn't too sure, I wasn't expecting much, I bought the airbrush thinner, figuring I'm going to need it, because they do tell you if you want to use the thinner to use a 3:1 ratio. And I was like, if they make a ratio measurement on that, I better pick up the thinner. And surprisingly, I never needed to use it. It worked just as advertised. Poured it in my paint pot, attach it to my airbrush, and boom! I was airbrushing for a good, I want to say, hour 45 minutes. Never had to stop to clean out the nozzle. The only stopping that I had to do was to refill the paint pot that I had. And it worked great. Quality paint wise, it was phenomenal, and coating was nice and smooth. Like, here's an example. This is one of the things that I airbrushed, and it's no residue, no little bits, dried up bits from it being, shot from the airbrush. It all came out extremely clean, and as you can even see here on the sides, it's all smooth, no issues, no re-prepping, no retouch-ups, nothing like that. It, as advertised, works phenomenally. And this is coming from someone who is not a fan of Vallejo, who has had bad experiences in the past with Vallejo Model Air paints. What I like about them is they easily rejuvenate themselves because they're so watery. You just shake them up for a bit and they solidify. Heck, when I bought them and I knew I was going to be airbrushing and I was just sitting there getting ready, every day I was just shaking the bottles just to keep them primed, and it was just, and like I said, experience was 10 times better than any I've ever had with the other model brand, with the other paints that Vallejo sells. Biggest issue that I have with this paint, if I had any at all, it's hard to come by here on Long Island. At least I couldn't find it. I went to, let's see, there's at least 4 to 5 different stores. 4 to 5 stores. There we go. Brain finally, thanks. To find the stuff. It was only one store that had it, that was within relative driving distance. The War store did have it, but I couldn't. They're located such a distance away from me that with my work schedule, it just becomes a pain in the butt to try and get down there. And the biggest issue was the one place that I could find within reasonable driving distance that had it didn't have a whole lot of it. A lot of it was he sells to order. He orders to sell, sorry. He doesn't really keep much in stock, so I had to guess at what colors that I needed. And there was a couple that I asked him for that I didn't end up buying because the website doesn't really, as per usual, website colors don't really show off the colors that well. At least to me, I've never had an experience where I purchased a paint and I went, oh, that looks exactly like this color, and it actually came to me looking like that color. It's always been off. It's usually either darker or a different funky color or something like that. Thankfully, there is a conversion chart that they have, which matches it up with other paint products. But even then, it's a little... There was only one color in particular when I went to Vallejo themselves and I said, you know, I'm looking for Model Air, but I found this color that I like. What color from your game model brand does what Vallejo Air color is the closest representation of this color? And it was night and day. They were completely off from each other, and there was no real way to say that these two colors were matchable. Again, biggest issue with that was if I could see it beforehand, I wouldn't. Now I feel bad that he ordered a box of this paint and I didn't buy any of it. Other than that, that's the only big issue that I have with it, and the other is color palette swapping. Not a lot of the colors from Vallejo, not a lot of colors from the Vallejo Model Air line match up with Citadel. But I did find a few that do, and so I'm going to list the ones here in this video that I know of, and if you guys have any, if you know of any colors that match up, drop a comment and I'll update the description of this video to list out more colors as I find out and experience the different colors that they have. But these colors definitely I know match up with Citadel paints. They've got the obvious colors that will match up is white and black. For them, it's just plain Model Air white, and the black they call NATO black. That's their generic white and black paint for the line. So in case you want to do some priming or something but it's in the wintertime or the summer, you know, not perfect conditions for spray painting, there you go. That's what I primarily use an airbrush for a lot, is priming and basing. The light red actually does a very good, practically simulates Troll Slayer Orange without any modifications. It's so close that you wouldn't notice unless you really spent time and compared the two colors. So this is a great, so if you have a lot of orange that you want to use with your airbrush, and you use the Troll Slayer Orange typically with your 40K stuff or anything, light red is a great substitute for airbrush paint colors. I haven't tried it completely, but red here, they just have a generic red, works pretty good. You may have to throw in a little bit of yellow in it to make it do a perfect blood red, not Evil Sunz Scarlet or Wazda. I think that's Evil Sunz Scarlet they claim is the new blood red, which it isn't. Doesn't match anything here, but they have just a generic red, and with a little bit of yellow paint, which I did purchase for this, you could probably get this to match the blood red real easily. Oh, apparently I don't have it. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. And speaking of, they do have a medium yellow, which looks pretty close to Yuri yellow. But I'm sure with a little bit of white and such, you know, it seemed from this look, it looks like very much a generic yellow. So using a little bit of white or a little bit of red, you may be able to get this to simulate most of the GW yellows out there, which there are only 2 that I'm aware of that are like yellow. So this one's really nice. Well, medium yellow. It works great with altering the red into other types of the lighter reds, and also helps using a few drops of this. I believe I figured it was a 2-to-1 ratio makes light red turn into Trolls Fire Dragon orange real easily. And this one does require a mixture piece, but they have a thing called Signal Blue. It is a really dark blue that almost shows up black when you apply it if you apply it too heavily. But if you do a mixture of three drops of Signal Blue and 1 drop of white, it makes the dead-on match of Kantor Blue. It's uncanny how close they two are to each other. Like, I have an example of this right here. So, just give me a second, sorry. So, once again, this piece here is, these two here are, the two different colors. The leg is the Signal Blue with a white mixture. The spine here, that's Kantor Blue. As you can see, there is very, very little difference between the two of them. And part of that may just be because this was a weak airbrush when I did this one, because I kind of tried to do the whole GW mix air thing to airbrush this. So if I actually hand painted this on, they'd probably be a lot closer to each other than this is right now. It's, like I said, it was really cool how much. I will put that formula down in the description, that way you guys can just read it if you want to do a quick read instead of having to watch the whole video again to see where I mention it. But yes, definitely if you're looking into airbrushing, I haven't checked out some of the other paints out there. I know there's a whole spectrum of paints of different airbrush companies. If I ever get the chance to, I will take those out and interview and review them as well. I will do reviews of them as well, and if you guys know of other Model Air colors and if they match up perfectly with a GW color, or if they will if you do a proper mixture of two different colors, please leave a comment and I will update the video description here. That way then word spreads so everyone can find out about this, especially like those who are just getting into airbrushing, and this stuff works great. Like I said, I was very intimidated about using it because I'm like, I don't know. After using GW with airbrushing, it was kind of a bad experience. This totally made up for the horrible experiences that I've had with GW's airbrushing, trying to airbrush with GW paints, and has kind of changed my opinion on Vallejo paints. I've been thinking of giving them another shot again after this. So, that is all for right now. Thank you all for tuning in, and oh, one other thing, price. Price point wise, no more expensive than the average Vallejo paint jar. You get a lot more paint out of the deal since it's a Vallejo jar versus a GW jar. In fact, one Signal Blue coated a Titan twice. And after coating that Titan twice, it did my Wraith Seer in 1 or 2 coats. That's a lot of model for one jar, and there's still paint in that jar. Yeah. And so again, also what's really great about it is it uses the eyedropper tops, making it superb for proper mixing. That way you don't have to worry about improper mixtures and such like that. It's just, 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, and boom. So far, as in my experience, great use for just generic airbrushing, and sets itself up to make it usable for mixturing without having to get like little droppers and such. No extra added equipment needed. Even the thinner isn't an airdrop. It has a dropper system, so it makes it real easy to get things set up and going without any extra prep work or any extra pieces aside from the model paints. And that's pretty much all I can think of to say about this stuff. thank you all for listening, and again, if you know of any good paints that match a Citadel color, or a mixture of two colors that makes a Citadel color really well, leave a comment. If you have your own feedback on good good airbrushing paints or anything like that, again, leave a comment. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe to us. That way, that way you can keep up to date when videos get added and these videos get passed around. And if you haven't yet, check out our Facebook. I'll put a link in the description. Great place for quick news bits, rumors, and sometimes we have little fun stuff like capture contests. And that is all for right now. Again, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.